So, hello everyone, and welcome to day 5 of Java Programming Bootcamp powered by edspread. So, let's get started. So, I hope you guys solved the questions, the homework questions which were given yesterday. If you did, please type yes in the chat box. So, now let's discuss the homework questions. The first question is sum of natural numbers from 1 to n, and the second question is program to display the factorial of a given number, and the third question is program to display the Fibonacci series of a given number. So now let's discuss the first question, that is the sum of natural numbers from 1 to n. So we already did this question, that is you may remember the formula n into n plus 1 by 2, that is the sum of natural numbers from 1 to n. So now let's do this with the loops. Like, this is one way of doing, and there are many types of, like, many ways of doing this. So now let's discuss how to do this problem with loops. So let's open Eclipse and let's create a new Java project. Click on file, select new, and click Java project, and let's name our Java project as day 5, and select finish. And it's asking whether to create a module or not, but I'm not interested in creating a module, so I'm not creating. And now day 5's Java project is created, but when you click on the source folder, nothing is there. So we need to create a package. That is, right click on source, select new, and then click on package, and the name is day 5, and click on finish. So here a package is created, but we can't do anything. So to write a code, to write some code, we need to have a class. So right click on package, select new, and click on class, and let's name our class as day 5 underscore homework 1, and make sure that the first letter of the class name is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter, and make sure to include this public static void main method, and click on finish. So here day 5's package is created, and the class name we created is day 5 underscore homework 1, and this is our public static void main method, and we are writing sum of natural numbers from 1 to n. So first, to take the input, we need to import the scanner class, which is available in the util package of Java. So that's why we need to type import keyword and java.util.scanner, and make sure that scanner's s is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter. And now let's create an object for this, that is scanner, and input is the name of the object. You can give anything, but I am trying to give input, so that's why. And type new keyword and scanner of system dot in, that is input. And now here our object is created. So now let's take an input. Before that, let's type enter the number n value, and let's declare a variable of integer data type, that is n is equals to input dot nextInt, which is the method available in scanner class of util package to take the input from an integer. So here we took an input, and now let's declare another variable of integer data type, that is sum. Sum is the name of variable, and initialize it to 0. So now we have to run the for loop, that is for int I is equals to 0, I is less than or equal to n, and I plus plus. So here what we are doing is, first we are initializing I to 0, that is initialization, and this is condition, that is I is less than or equal to n. Run this loop until I is less than or equal to n. If it is greater than n, stop, it will stop. And this is updation, that is increment or decrement. So here we will be writing sum is equals to sum plus I. Don't worry, I'll explain you. And let's print out, that is system.out.println. We are printing out the sum of natural numbers. So now let's execute the program, and so it's asking the n value. Suppose if we type 10, we have to get the answer 55. That is, sum of natural numbers from 1 to n is 55, and that's true. So here what is happening is that first we initialized I to 0, that is initialization, and condition here is that I is less than or equal to n. Here our n value is 10, so until I is less than or equal to 10, this code will run, this loop will run, it will iterate. So after n is, when n is 11, it will check other it will check whether I is less than or equal to n. That is, suppose when it comes to 11, I value is 11 is less than or equal to 10. No, 11 is greater than 10, so it won't execute. And here we are incrementing, that is updation. We can increment or decrement, and inside the loop what we are doing is sum is equals to sum plus I. First sum is 0, that is sum is equals to 0 plus I. When I is 0, sum is equals to 0 plus 0, that is 0. 0 is being printed, we are printing the sum. And now I is equals to 1, that is sum is equals to 0, sum is 0, 0 plus 1, that is 1, 1 is being printed. So now the sum is 1, and I is equals to 2, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3, 3 is being printed. And now I is equals to 3, and some value is 2, sorry, some value is 3, that is 3 plus I is equals to 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and we are printing out the sum, that is 6 is being printed. Now sum value is 4 and i's value is, sum's value is 6 and I value is 4, that is 6 plus 4, 10 is being printed. And here sum value is 10 and I value is 5, that is 10 plus 5, we are printing 15 here, and it goes on till executing this. Like sum's value is 55, 55 plus I value is 11. Now it will check the condition, 11 is less than or equal to 10, 11 is greater than 10, so it won't update, or it won't come in the for loops block, and it will exit the loop. So now what if I print this sum here, that is outside the for loops block, that is I'll cut this and I'll paste this here, and let's see what happens if I execute this. Or if I type 10 again, 55 is being returned, but other numbers are not being returned. And now if you cut this thing, and paste this thing here, let's see what happens. That is n value is 10, this is being printed, and so here the loop will continue until i's value is less than or equal to n. That is our condition, we gave our condition here. So now suppose let's execute this again, and let's say we want to print the natural numbers from 1 to 15, sum of natural numbers from 1 to 15, that is if I specify the n value as 15, these many numbers will be printed, that is sum of natural numbers from 0 to 15 is 120. So now let's go to the second question, that is to display the factorial of a given number. So let's open Eclipse, and now let's close this console, and let's create a new class. That is, right click on day5's package, select new, and click on class, and let's name our class as day5 underscore homework 2. That is, make sure that the class name's first letter is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter, and make sure to include this public static void main method, that is the main method, and click on finish. So here our class is created day5 homework2 underscore homework2 in day5 package. So here we are going to write the factorial of a given number, that is display the factorial of a given number. So in order to write the factorial number program, you need to have the knowledge of factorial. So what is factorial? So a factorial is that the product of all positive integers less than or equal to a given positive integer is known as factorial of a given number, and it is denoted by exclamation point. So let's say I want 7 factorial, that is 7 factorial. Factorial is represented by exclamation mark. Before, like after the number, you will type the exclamation mark. That is, here it is known as 7 factorial, and let's say 7 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7. And let's say factorial of 1 is factorial of 2 is 2 factorial is equals to 1 into 2. That is, the given positive integer is 2 and the factorial of 2 is the product of all positive integers less than or equal to a given positive integer. That is, given positive integer is 2, so less than or equal to 2. And if I say, let's say the factorial of 5 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. As 5 is less than or equal to the given number, that's why we are printing this. And always remember that factorial of 1 factorial is always 1 and 0 factorial is also 1. So now let's get started with the problem. First, let's import the scanner class which is available in the util package of Java. That is import java.util.scanner and make sure that scanner's S is a capital letter. And now let's create an object, that is scanner. Input is the name of the object. You can give anything like hi, bye, anything like edspread, you can give anything. And let's use the new keyword to create an object, that is new scanner of system.in, that is input. So now our object is created. Now let's declare a variable of integer data type name and name it as n, that is int n, and is equals to input dot next int, which is a method available in the scanner class of util package in Java to take the input of an integer data type. And before that, let's type something here, that is enter the value of n. And now let's declare another variable factorial of integer data type, that is int factorial. Let's say factorial is equals to 1. And now let's run our for loop, that is for int I is equals to 0, I is less than or equal to n, and I plus plus, that is initialization condition. This is initialization, we are initializing I to 0, and I is less than or equal to n is condition, and I plus plus is updation. If you start from here, I is equals to 0, factorial of 0, so that's why we need to start from 1. I is equals to 1, I is less than or equal to n, I plus plus, that is the updation, that is increment or decrement. So inside for loop comes our main logic. So here we are going to write factorial is equals to factorial into I, and let's print it to the screen, that is this out. We are printing factorial, and now let's execute. That is enter the value of n, that is 5, that is 120 should be the answer. So let me explain what is happening. First, n value is 5, here our n value is 5, so we are declaring I is equals to 1, that is initialization, and here the condition is that when I is less than or equal to 5, so 5 is also included in this. When I is less than or equal to 5, we are running this code and we are incrementing this, that is updating this. And a factorial, suppose I is equals to 1 now. So I is equals to 1, let's check the condition, 1 is less than or equal to 5, yeah, 1 is less than 5. So we are going into this loop, that is factorial, that is 1 into 1, that is 1 is being printed, and we are printing the factorial, that is 1. And now the factorial's value is 1, now I is equals to 2, that is 2 is also less than or equal to 5, that is less than 5. So we are going in the loop, that is factorial is equals to factorial's value is 1 into 2, that is 2. So we are printing out the value, that is 2. And now the I value is 3, that is 3 is also less than 5 n value. So we are going into this loop, that is 2 into I value is 3, factorial's value is 2, into I value is 3, 2 into 3 is 6. We are printing out the value, that is 6. And now I value is 4 and factorial is 6. 6 into I value is 4, that is 6 into 4 is 24. So we are printing out the factorial, that is 24. And now I value is 5. 5 is less than or equal to n. 5 is equal to 5 is equal to 5. So we are going into this code, and factorial's value is 24 and I value is 5. 24 into 5 is 120. We are printing out to the screen. And now I value is 6. 6 is less than or equal to n. No, it is not. 6 is greater than n, that is 6 is greater than 5. So we are updating it, that is the program won't get executed. So 6 is less than or equal to 6 is less than or equal to 5. No, it's false. So 6 is greater than 5. So it won't get executed and it won't go inside the loop only. So let's try another thing, like control F11 and let's execute it once again. Let's say factorial of 4 and let's enter. We are getting 24 as factorial of 4. That's true. And now let's discuss the third problem, that is the third homework problem, that is program to display the Fibonacci series of a given number. So let's discuss this. So now let's create a new class, that is right click on day5 package and select new and click on class, and let's name our class as day5 underscore homework 3, that is, and make sure that the first letter of your class name is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter, and so make sure you select this public static void main method and click on finish. So here our class is created with the name day5 underscore homework 3 and in the package day5, and here we are going to write our code, that is, so we are printing Fibonacci series from, that is, up to n terms. So in order to write this program of Fibonacci series, you have to have some idea about what is Fibonacci series first. So what is Fibonacci series? So Fibonacci series is a series of number where a number is the addition of the last two numbers, and it starts with 0 and 1. Like I'll explain you, that is, it starts with 0 and 1, and a number is a sum of last two numbers, that is, last two numbers are 0 and 1. So 0 plus 1, it is 1. So sum of last two numbers is 1 plus 1, that is 2. And last two numbers, sum of last two numbers is 1 plus 2 is 3. So sum of last two numbers is 2 plus 3 is 5. Sum of last two numbers is 3 plus 5 is 8, and it goes on and on. So now let's write a program. First let's import the scanner class, which is available in the util package of Java. So let's import java.util.scanner and make sure that scanner's s is a capital letter. And now let's create an object for scanner class, that is scanner input, that is the object name, is equals to new scanner system.in, that is input. So here we created an object. Now let's write something, that is system.out.println. One second. Let's say enter the value of n, and now let's declare a variable n of integer data type, that is int n is equals to input.nextInt, which is a method available in scanner class of util package to take the input of integers. And now let's declare a variable a of integer data type and assign it to 0, and declare another variable b of integer data type and assign it to 1, and let's just declare a variable of integer data type known as c. So now let's write our for loop, that is for int I is equals to 0, I is less than or equal to n, that is the condition, and this is updation I plus plus, and here we will be writing our main logic. So first we will be printing the value of a, that is system.out.println, and let's say we'll print a, and let's say C is equals to the sum of A and B, and now let's assign A is equals to B and B is equals to C. And now let's execute our program. And let's say sum of 8 terms. So it starts from 1 second. I'll just enlarge this so you can see value of n is 8. So it starts from 0, 0 and 1, that is 1 plus 1 is 2, this is 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 8 is, sorry, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 5 plus 8 is 13, and 8 plus 13 is 21. So this is our Fibonacci series. So this program executes until the value of I is less than or equal to n, that is until till suppose here the n value is 8, so till I is equals to 8 it executes and then comes out of the loop. So now let's discuss about methods. And now suppose if you want to print something on the screen, say that is your name, so you are invoking the print method. Here the println is a predefined function in Java. Let's see with an example. So now let's open Eclipse. Let's create a new class, that is right click on day5 on the package and select new, then click on class, and let's name our class as day5 underscore methods, and make sure that the first letter of your class name is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter, and make sure to include this public static void main method, and let's click on finish. So here our class is created with the name of day5 underscore methods, and let's print our name here, that is, let's say system.out.println, let's say edspread, and when we execute this we can see our name. So here println is a predefined function in Java. Like that we can define our own functions, that is methods, in Java too. And now let's go back to the PPT, that is the next slide. So first of all, the very most important thing here is that to understand Java from basics, you have to understand methods. And a method is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Like you can pass any data, which is also called as parameters, into a method. And methods are used to perform certain actions, and they are also known as functions. So we can use we use methods to reuse code, that is define the code once and use it many times. And let's say if you want to write a piece of code in multiple places, if it is like 2 or 3 lines, you can write it easily in multiple places. But if there is like hundreds of lines of code and you have to write it multiple places, it gets a lot of time consuming. So it consumes a lot of time. So that's why we use methods to reuse our code. That is, we can define the code once and use it as many times as we can. Just we need to call the function, and like in one line the code will get executed. So now we can pass some information to methods as parameters, and those parameters act as variables in the method, but we need to specify the data type of that parameters. And we define functions outside the main method and we call inside the main method. So now let me demonstrate and show you how to define our own method and call our own method. So let's comment this out, and here we are going to define our, as I said, we are going to define our function outside the main method, that is outside these brackets, and we are going to call inside the main method. Like first we need to type public static void. So here void keyword means it does not return anything, and let's type our function name, that is, let's say my own function. And as I said, we can pass some information here, that is also known as parameters, inside our method. And this is where we are going to write some code. Like let's print out system.out.println, like I created my own function. I created my own function, and let's say hi there. And now let's call the function. As I said, we are defining the function outside the main method, but we're calling the function inside the main method. That is, we are going to call our function, that is my own function, and let's include the parenthesis, and let's put the semicolon. And now if we execute this, control F11, and here we can see that I created my own method, like I created my own function, and it's printing hi there. So now let's discuss some practice problems, and the first problem is we have to print hello world using the methods concept. So first let's create a new class, that is right click on day5 package, select new, and then click on class, and let's say day5 underscore question 1, and make sure that the first letter of the class is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter, and make sure to include the public static void main method, and click on finish. And so here a class is created, and let's write hello world using methods, or let's say functions. So we have to define our function outside the main method, that is public static void, and let's say our function's name is hello world, and let's say we're not giving anything in the parameters, so let's print out system.out.println, that is hello world. And now let's say let's call our method. We are calling our main method, like we're calling a function inside the main method and defining outside the main method, that is hello world is being called. Let's say control F11, and now it says hello world. So this is our first problem. And now let's say if you want to pass some information, that is here, let's say of integer data type, we have to declare the variable, and we have to specify the data type also. And let's say we have to say plus a, we have to concatenate here, and let's say we have to pass the input in the calling function also, function call also, that is, let's say we'll pass 3, and let's execute this. So hello world and 3 is being printed. Now let's specify another variable b of string data type, that is we have to declare string b, and let's say plus b, and we have to give our input here, that is, let's say welcome to edspread. And when we execute this, hello world and welcome to edspread is being executed. So suppose, let's say now you defined a variable b of string data type, but if you type something like this, that is, if you type 8 and if you execute, you will get an error saying that string is not applicable for the arguments int. So if you specify 8 in double quotes, it will interpret as a string, and when you execute this, 8 will be printed, that is hello world and 8 is being printed. So now let's discuss another question, that is adding two numbers using methods. So right click on package, let's create a new class, and let's call it as days5 underscore question 2, and let's include this public static void main method, and the first letter should be a capital letter, and let's click on finish, and let's define our function outside the main method, that is public static void, that means void does not return anything, and let's type our function name, that is add of, let's say let's give parameters as int a and int b, and let's write our function inside this. So let's say first let's print out the sum, that is a plus b, and now let's call, before that let's say let's make it a string, that is the sum of A and B is A plus B, and let's call our function here that is inside the main method, that is add of, let's say, 2 comma 3. If we, and let's put a semicolon here and let's execute the program. Now the sum of 2 and 3 is 5, that is we have to give some space here, that is now it will look good. Let's execute it once again, and now it says the sum of 2 and 3 is 5. So now let's say instead of printing this A plus B, you want to return this. Now let's comment this out, and let's say we will just return A plus B, and let's execute this and let's see what happens. So we are getting error in line 7 and line 12. So let's see what the error is. It says void methods cannot return a value, and that's true, like void does not return anything. So if you want to return something, what you have to do is you have to change this void to the data type that would be returned. That is, like, suppose instead of void you have to write int, because here we are dealing with only integers. And now let's say let's execute the program and let's see what happens. Now we executed the program, but nothing is being printed. Like here we are not having any errors and nothing is there, everything is perfect. Why it's not being printed? That's the question here. So here what we have to do is, to return something we have to store the function call in a variable and print it. That is, function call is inside the main method, so we have to say like int sum is equals to add of 2 or add 2 and 3, and let's print sum, that is system.out.println, and let's say sum, and now let's execute and see what happens. 2 plus 3 5 is being printed. But if I comment this out, let's say let's put a multi-line comment, that is this, and now let's execute this. Nothing is being printed. Let's say now I didn't call the function. Now let's call the function add 2 comma 3 or 2 comma 30, and let's execute this. We are getting an error because we didn't put a semicolon here. So now let's execute it. Nothing is being printed, everything is perfect. So finally, in order to return something, we have to store the function call in a variable and print it. Like we stored the function call in a variable named sum and we are printing that sum. Now let's comment this out and let's print this. And let's say 2 comma 30, it should return 32, and let's execute this. It's returning this. Like sum of 2 and 30 is 32 and 32 is being returned. So finally, methods can return or may not return values. If they can't return a value, we put void before the method name. That is, if they can't return, we put void before the method name, and then the method does some stuff that does not return anything. But when it returns something, we give what type of data it returns. That is, here we are dealing with integers, so it returns the integer data type. So we are specifying the data type as int here. So now let's write a program to check whether the given number is odd or even using methods. That is, let's right click on package and let's create a new class and let's name it as day5 underscore let's say question 3, and make sure this is a capital letter, the first letter, and let's include this public static void main method and click on finish. So here our class is created, and let's say to check whether a number is odd or even using methods. So we have to define our function outside the main method and call inside the main method. That is public static void, let's say it's not returning anything, and let's say our method's name is odd even, and let's pass our parameter that is int like parameter a of integer data type, and let's write some code here. Like if a mod 2 is 0, that is if the remainder is 0, if the given number remainder is 0, we are printing that the number is even. The given number is an even number. And else what we are doing, if it is not 0, if it is non-zero, that is 1. We are just printing. If we don't use else here, nothing will be printed on the console. So we are trying to display something that if like if the remainder is non-zero, we are just typing the given number is not an even number. That's it. And now if we execute, nothing will be printed because we are not calling the function. So let's call our function here in the main inside the main method, that is odd even of, let's say, 99, and let's put a semicolon and let's execute this. So 99 is an odd number, so the given number is not an even number. Let's say the given number is an odd number. Now let's execute, so it looks good. The given number is an odd number, and let's say 98, and let's execute this. So the given number is an even number. So we are done with the third question, and now let's go to the fourth question, that is to calculate the volume of cuboid using methods. So for that, let's create a new class. Right click on day5 package and select new and create a class. And let's name our class as day5 underscore question 4, and make sure that the first letter of the class name is a capital letter, that is an uppercase letter. And let's click on the public static void main method and click on finish. And here our class is being created, that is class is created, and let's write our code here, that is volume of a cuboid. So firstly, the volume of a cuboid is length into breadth into height, or length into width into height, that is LBH or LWH. Let's put into here, that is so. Now let's define our function outside the main method, that is public static void, that is our function's name is, let's say, volume, and let's say int, that is length, int breadth, and let's say int height. These are the three parameters we are passing in this function, and let's execute this. Let's say length into breadth into height, and let's concatenate this. The volume of the cuboid is, let's say, let's put these in brackets. So now let's call the function here, that is volume of, let's say, 2 3 4, and let's execute this. So 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 4 is 24. The volume of the cuboid is 24, that is length is 2, breadth or width is 3, and height is 4. So now if you want to return instead of print, let's comment this out. Let's change this type to the variable, to the data type integer, because we are dealing with integers here, and void does not return anything. And if you want, I'll show you again, that is, let's say void, and now let's say return L into B into H, that is length into breadth into height, and let's execute this program. We got an error because first we didn't specify we didn't put a semicolon here, and we didn't change from void to the data type we are dealing with. Let's execute this again, and still we will get an error that void methods cannot return a value. So as we are dealing with integers, let's say int here, and now let's execute again. It won't be nothing. The program is correct, but the code is correct, but nothing will be printed here because we have to store the function call into a variable and then print it. Let's say declare a variable of integer data type, that is int vol is equals to volume of 234, that is length, breadth, height, and let's print out to the screen system.out.println, and let's say volume, and let's execute. Now 24 is being printed because we stored the function call into a variable and then we printed that variable. So that's it for today, and make sure that you try out these two homework problems given here in the PPT, and I'll try to discuss them tomorrow. And let me summarize what we have learned today in day 5. So first we discussed the 3 homework questions, that is how to print sum of natural numbers from 1 to n without using the formula n into n plus 1 by 2, and we wrote a program to display the factorial of a given number using loops, and we wrote a program to display the Fibonacci series of a given number using loops. We can write this both programs as using while loop and for loop too, and make sure we did with for loop, but make sure you try it out with while loop also. The logic is same. And then we discussed about methods. What is a method? It only runs when it is called, and we can pass some data also known as parameters into a method, but we need to specify the data type of that parameter. That is, parameters are also they act as variables in the method. So, and we use methods to reuse code, that is to define the code once and use it as many times as we want. And methods are also known as functions, and there are 2 types of methods, that are predefined methods and user defined methods. Predefined methods are examples of println and print function that is present in the Java, that is system.out.println. And user defined methods, we just defined how to write a program using our own user defined methods, that is hello world program. We wrote a hello world program using methods, and we learned how to define a method and how to call a method, and how to define our own method and call a method. And we also learned that methods can return or may not return values. So if they can't return a value, we put void before the method name, and if they return if they return something, we give what type of data it returns before the name of the method. And we also learned that to return something, we have to store that function call in a variable and then print it. And we define the method outside the main method and call the method inside the main method. And we discussed about these practice questions, that is printing hello world using methods, program to add 2 numbers using methods. And we also discussed how to program to print whether a number is order even using methods. And we also discussed how to calculate the volume of a cuboid using methods. And these 2 are the homework questions, that is program to convert temperature given in Celsius into Fahrenheit using methods, and the program that performs all calculator operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of 2 integers using methods. And make sure you try out these 2 homework questions, and let's discuss tomorrow. And the attendance form will be posted in the chat box, and the PPT will be posted in the WhatsApp group. And if you haven't joined any of our WhatsApp groups, please join them. Link is in the description. And please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.